The Moondrop Starfield 2. Let's talk about it. Now, this IEM is sent to me on loan by Apos Audio. All thoughts and opinions are mine, and they haven't asked me to say anything about this. Now, a few things about this. This is a little bit of an older release. This has already been out for about 11 months, so this isn't anything new, but it's something we haven't reviewed on channel, so we agreed to do it. Let's start by talking about the build quality. The build quality of this IEM to me is reminiscent a great deal of the Aria 2. It looks a lot the same in many qualities. It's a small, comfortable shell. It has a recessed 2-pin cable. It has a nice, pretty shell. The two blue shells are a little bit different. It doesn't have my favorite little flap on this, so it's kind of a small shell, which to some people that might be actually better having it be smaller. It's blue, it's metallic, it fits well. It has kind of that screw that the Aria 2 does on the front. No real problems with the build quality of this. The case that this comes with, it's a nice case. Nothing too special, but it's a nice addition. The cable itself is fine. It has red and white hooks to denote left and right. It's a nice, pretty cable. The chin slider is very loose, but it's, it's not bad. The cable itself, I want to say it's a 4-strand. It's supple. It feels good in hand. Has a little moondrop symbol at the end, and it's overall not a bad cable with a cartoon child on the front cover. Now, this IEM to me is kind of interesting. This is a planar driver. This here we have its graph. Its graph shows a little bit lean, a little bit bright, a little bit slow rise to its vocal centric region. It's it's kind of a weird. It's not a terrible graph, all things considering, but it really doesn't work very well for my taste. If we look at some other graphs, we look at some stuff here in a bit, you'll kind of see what I mean. So it's not my favorite, although it does have nice channel matching and some qualities about it that are not terrible. All right, so let's look at a few other things that this has going on for it. Like, if you look at the Moondrop May, this is also done by the same company. This is a little bit cheaper. To me, this is a little bit closer to what I would prefer out of an IEM. I think it has better bass. It has a little bit less energy in the upper mids. To me, the Moondrop May is something I would recommend for Moondrop instead of the Starfield 2. The Starfield 2 is just a little bit too much for me. Another one I would recommend versus the Starfield 2 would be the Moondrop Aria 2. Like, to me, they look they graph very similar, but the Aria 2 has way less treble. And what's going on beyond the graph and just the dynamics of the driver are completely different. And to me, the Moondrop Aria 2 just seems a lot smoother and a lot less bright and piercing to what I want to hear and listen to. Another IEM I would recommend that's even cheaper than all these is 7Hertz Clinical 02. I think it's a solid little set. It just has a nice sonic quality. Sometimes you don't have to pay a lot. Now, you look at something like the Moondrop Starfield 2, it does have a lot of good things going on with it. It does sound nice in ear. It does look good. It's just, if I had to be a finicky audiophile and say whether I like this one, I have to be really clear that I don't. And I don't think that makes it a terrible IEM. It's just not something that I personally would gravitate towards or recommend. Okay, now that we look at the Moondrop Starfield and the Pulo PA02, we're going to try something different. We're going to normalize this as, say, 800, which is a little different, but you can kind of see something. And you'll notice that its bass response is kind of that flat and low, and then it goes up very, very high. And that's more akin to what I heard from the Moondrop Starfield 2 versus what we had there. Like, it just didn't really work for me. I just didn't really like it. It had a lot of kind of weird things going on, despite it not being a terrible IEM. Now, this IEM is not something I would recommend. I feel that there's just a lot better options at this price point. I feel like its tuning just isn't really great. I feel like it has some nice qualities. I think the highs are kind of nice, but its bass response and overall tonal balance, when I was listening to like my favorite bass songs, it wasn't really working for me. Some of its treble was kind of nice, but it was just a little bit too much and too bright in that upper air and treble region. I don't think this is a bad IEM, and I want to be clear that there's a lot of IEMs out there that aren't clear, but part of my core values is try to articulate some maybe different IEMs that might work for you. I think the Starfield 2 is one of those IEMs that has been out for a while. You probably either own it and are trying to figure out whether it's a good IEM. I kind of don't like it. Or if you're looking to buy, again, I think we've talked about some other IEMs from Moondrop, like the Aria 2, or even the Moondrop May, which I consider to be better than this one, despite this one having some interesting qualities that some people might like. There's a lot of planars out there, and this to me is one of the ones that is just kind of okay. The IEM world is kind of crazy. There's tons of IEMs. There's guys that have just hundreds and thousands of IEMs. But as part of my core philosophy, I try to be really careful about which ones I recommend to you guys based off which ones that I find that I really enjoy. I think it's too easy as a reviewer just to go out there and state, yeah, this is good. This is good. Hey, you might like this. Hey, look at this. And it's harder sometimes as a reviewer to say, no, I don't. And I'm kind of having to take a stand here that again, it's not that it's bad, but if you're after what I want, if you're after what I like, I think there is better representations, not only from this company, IEMs that are cheaper, and upcoming IEMs that might be better off saving your money for. Although the packaging of this is nice, the cable of this is beautiful. If you're trying to collect all the Moondrops, this maybe is not a bad one to get. But for what I want and what I like, I just can't recommend it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. You're still here. It's over. Go home. Go watch another IEM video. It's done. That's the entire video. What more do you want?